who were they? What actually did help you then?
So far as, do you mean by what kind of things that I do to? So I didn't.
Oh yeah,
a dark room would help, because you're very, very sensitive. So it's not just smells; it can be movement, it can be light, sensitivity. So even like getting into a car to go and see the GP that's a no-no. So you have to do it over your telephone. Some women can't even look at their screen as well on the phone, because that could kick it off. For me, it was definitely smells. So how would I manage it? Nobody came to my house. No one was allowed to cook.
But that's good though, that you were able to notice that.
And definitely.
Actually, please don't come, because quite often when people are pregnant, I mean, obviously now with the pandemic, it's very different.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I did have the odd person, because it was almost like they didn't believe that I was going through this, and it's a bit of a spectator sport, isn't it? You're kind of watching to see, and I was like, I cannot be sick with this person in my house.
Oh my gosh, that's the thing.
But they do it out of affection. They're coming to see if you're all right, basically. So it's coming from a good place, but no, you don't need it.
Yeah. But it's about knowing that, and I guess what you did there was correct by saying, look, actually, it's going to make you worse if you come. So please, in the most nicest of ways. And culturally, I guess that thing, isn't it, of I've got guests coming and stuff like that, and that should really be addressed in an appropriate way.
And that actually comes from a very supportive core family. So if my husband didn't support me in that way, or if my mom or my mother-in-law just, if they weren't strict with people, and if they didn't say, look, she just can't deal at the moment, so just like, let's just leave her to it. So it got to a point of my first pregnancy, somehow, I don't know how, I got to about the 16th week of my pregnancy, and then I noticed that it subsided. The actual physical act of vomiting subsided and then stopped. The nausea never leaves you, it's always there, but you don't feel like being sick. So, but the second pregnancy, so I did that without any medication. So with the second pregnancy, it was just on another level of vicious episodes of vomiting, and it was almost immediate, and it was just all the time. How
many times like a day would you vomit then?
50, 60 times non-stop. And then you get to a point where, like I said, it gives you relief to vomit, and it gives you a couple of seconds to get your breath back. It's not nice. So there was one night where I obviously hadn't eaten at all. I was not drinking enough. So it's over a large period of time, I'm not drinking any water, and I had turned grey at that point. And I could see, like when I'm wiping, I could see that there's a lot of spit that comes out as well. Some women have a lot of problem with that as well. So I could see there was a little bit of speck of blood. So I'd obviously vomited so much that I was actually harming the back of my throat. So I basically told my husband to go get a knife and to stab me, because I felt like if I was thinking about another pain somewhere else, then I won't be thinking about this.
My gosh,
and that just shows how low my mental health was. That wasn't really a buzzword 11 years ago. It wasn't acceptable to say, I'm struggling mentally with this. I'm exhausted. I don't see the end. That's the thing with nausea, with HG, with MVP. You don't know when this is going to stop. And every minute is like an hour, and every hour is, like a day. Just, the time just does not pass at all.
Yeah, and being found and not seeing anyone, though, I mean, it's
extremely isolating. It's extremely isolating. So my husband knew that something is not right with my wife. So he did call an ambulance. Never call an ambulance on a Saturday night because they're dealing with people on Broad Street. So they finally did come. And when they did, it was brilliant. They took me into what's called the early pregnancy unit, which I didn't even know existed. And they got me in for a scan as soon as possible to make sure that everything was okay. And alhamdulillah, everything was okay. And they put me on a hydration treatment. They gave me hydration treatment, which helped immediately, because you've not been drinking water for weeks, for months. So intravenously, they're obviously giving you hydration treatment. You can't vomit that up. You know, the water that I was drinking orally, I was vomiting it up. I couldn't keep it in my body. And you can get urinary tract infections as well because you're not drinking enough water. So I was then, I remember the consultant sitting on my bed the next morning and saying, look, you know, there is medication available. And I was like, really? There is medication available? I thought there was nothing that I could take that could make things a little bit better. And obviously I was very much aware of what happened in the 1960s with the case where a tablet was given to moms to ease pregnancy sickness, but unfortunately it left the babies with deformities. So I was very aware of that, and I was very understanding of the fact that GPs are quite nervous to give out medication for something like this. So I just thought there was nothing that was available. But she said that there was something that I could take. Would I be happy to take it? And obviously my first question is it going to affect me? Is it going to affect my baby? Is everything going to be all right? And she assured me that it would be safe. She was very good. She warned me. She said it might not work. The medication might not work. And then there are other options. Some women have to take a combination of medication as well. So thankfully, it did help. It did help. So this, again, the nausea never leaves you, even with the tablet. It never, ever leaves you. But the actual vomiting, the act of vomiting stopped. Yeah. So that was such a relief. And you can start to enjoy your pregnancy a little bit. So it's not nice at all.
No. And I think it's that thing of your first pregnancy, you didn't even know that you had options. The second time you learned that actually there is a unit called the early pregnancy unit which you can contact. You can get hydration treatment. There are some kind of sickness medicines out there which are available. So there are things out there, but it's the fact that you had no idea about that the first
no awareness at all.
Yeah, so I think that's something that for anyone watching out there, it's really important that you do try and get to know all your options out there that are available, and don't feel
and the fact that I had to get to that level of desperation, for me to get help, my mental health had to be so low in order for somebody to say, hold on, this woman needs help, she can't get through this, I just remember it being I used to get very intense periods, and it must have been one of those intense periods when I just get a knife and just end it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And I can laugh about it now, but at the time it was like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. So I had to call an ambulance to get help. I didn't even think to call my GP to say I'm struggling, I can't do this. But thankfully I got the help that I needed, but it was the lack of awareness and the suffering in silence that a lot of women have to go through. That shouldn't happen, I don't think, anymore.
No, it shouldn't. And I guess there must be a lot of kind of cultural presumptions about this as well, like it's just sickness, so you'll be fine, and then that naturally makes you think, okay, maybe it's just me, and I just need to stop. Then I need to stop saying this. I don't know, what are your cultural?
So because you're housebound and you're bedbound and no guests are allowed to come, I wasn't aware of any cultural presumptions. However, I'm sure there were some people going, oh, she's exaggerating, or maybe she's a bit of a weakling and she can't deal with something like this. I actually had more issues with my workplace. As a teacher, if you take any time off, somebody has to cover your lessons, which is a great inconvenience to a school, because they're either your colleagues are covering your lesson or they have to get supply teachers to come in. So they were not too happy about it. They didn't understand it. Even though I tried to explain what it was, there was not a lot of awareness. And I remember a very senior role within the school basically said, well, Nadia, it's punishment for having sex. You should, and I was just like, what? Did you just say that to me? And again, you're so tired, and you're so you're not, you're very vulnerable, and I didn't do anything about it. I never complained or anything. I knew it wasn't right. I knew it was not the right thing, whether they said it in jest or not, which I didn't think it was in jest. It was totally inappropriate. There was other members of staff in there, male members of staff in there as well. So I was just like, oh my God, this is awful. So I would love for, employers to be more aware of these female conditions, that sometimes women don't have straightforward pregnancies, where we're all blooming and wearing dungarees and painting and all of that stuff, that image that people have of women when they're pregnant. That was not me.
If you've been affected by any of the issues that we've discussed, there is help out there. There are resources and some websites that we've got linked down in the description box below. Thank you.